Hey everyone, it's Sanni. So it's been years and years and years of when I did one of my most popular ever videos, which was eye makeup for a hooded eye. And I thought it was about time I revisit that because I've got some new tips and tricks and I've got this little sketching kind of exercise that I do in the beginning before we start doing the eye makeup, just so that you get to know your own eye shape. So the look is really simple. And you can use whatever colors. I'm using a couple of palettes here, but you can use whatever. It's more about the technique and the placement of the color than the actual, eyeshadows as such. You do most of hooded eye makeup kind of matte, but then I tend to add a highlight so that I get a little bit of je ne sais quoi, a little bit of sparkle. Anyhow, if you like this video, let me know below what you'd like to see next time. Follow me on Instagram. I'm doing some quarantine stories, and sub to this channel if you're not. And what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, so if you don't know what hooded eyes are, I'm going to give you a 20-second quick thing. It is when your eyelid here is kind of resting a little bit on your eye, so that when you're looking straight on, you cannot see much of the moving part of the eyelid. That's as simple as it is. It's not a defect, it's an eye shape. And some people do get more hooded as they get older, some people don't. It's just genetics. And I personally really like my hooded eyes. I don't mind them. And I know some people really don't like them. So yeah, let's get started. So as we start, I think it's always best to figure out your own personal hood. What is it like? How big is it? I will show you here in a photo what my area, my hood that I kind of like to cover up looks like. So I'm highlighting here where my hoods are the worst. I know it looks kind of freaky, but it gives you a good idea on what I want to cover. So this trick I find super helpful. Take a big fat eye pencil. This is I'm a Dreamer by Tarte. And draw in the part of the hood that you want to cover. I'm not going to put on any eye primer because we're actually going to be taking this off. It's just a good exercise to figure out your own specific eye shape because it won't be the same as mine. So my hood, the part that I want to cover, and this is going to look really rough. So the part that I want to cover roughly looks like this. And when I raise my eyebrows and kind of close my eyes, you can kind of see where it is on the eyelid. So this is so helpful to get to know that area in your eye shape, just so that, you know, when you're doing your eye makeup, because most of us do it like this, we're kind of like raising our eyebrows, kind of like getting into the lid. So you know exactly your own personal hooded area, so to speak. But we're going to be taking it off. Eye primer, always for hooded eye girls. My favorite is Too Faced Shadow Insurance because it goes on super, super smooth. You get tons in the package, it's cruelty free, tons of reasons. And this keeps your eyeshadow perfect. I'm going to be using a couple of palettes. The Naked Reloaded and my all-time favorite, Tartist Pro palette. You don't need to have these palettes. Just kind of work with the colors you have. Important thing for hooded eyes and for most eye shapes is working with kind of natural shadows. So if we're doing a natural eye look. So I am actually going to start by doing an all over color. What is this called? It's called Bold. So it's a little tiny bit darker than my own eyelid. Not much. It's just kind of like a little shadow. I'm using a fluffy brush, and all I'm concentrating on right now is not to go beyond this line, not to drag my eye down. But apart from that, I'm not like too fussed about the actual hood yet. I go into the crease and I blend it in. This is just like a base layer. And when you choose a color close to your own eyelid color, a little bit darker, you can go really, really high. Like I'm going almost to my eyebrows. And as long as I keep this in mind, I'm fine. Oh, I have something there. Let's just keep shooting. Anyhow, so I do that. I always put a little bit of the neutral just on the outer third of my lower eyelid as well to create a base. I'm going to keep using the same brush and I'm going to go a little bit darker. So I am going to go Profesh, which is a medium taupe color. So now you need to start paying attention to where that area was. So always keep in mind that this line, don't go below this line, and then the high, when your eye is open and looking straight, and don't go above that. That is basically where your triangle is. We're gonna make it a little bit deeper and darker with a smaller brush in a bit, but for now, I'm gonna show you like that. We're gonna keep it bigger and not as dark. And fade it in. And keeping in mind this, if you're not used to it, measure it a few times while you're doing your eye makeup. And again, whatever is left with the brush, I kind of tend to do that. I'm a sucker for not using too many brushes, and I do the outer third again. And this is a good time to go in and just blend the edges with a clean brush. So now when you're looking straight into the mirror, you should be able to see that eyeshadow, but it shouldn't go kind of like too far down or too far up. I often see people do kind of like almost like a little cloud and try and keep it kind of no higher than your eye when it's open. Now we are going to go to a darker color, and I am switching to a smaller brush. This is Inglot 10S, and we're going to go for a not black but a kind of dark brown, and this is Smoked on the same palette. And now you really need to remember kind of the little triangle, because that is exactly where we're going. And I like to start it off with my eyes open, like as in open, neutral, and then I can start doing that. But for me, the triangle, I remember where it was, is pretty much there. And then I can do that and start pulling it down. I don't spread it too far in, but that is just kind of personal taste. And as soon as I've done one layer, I go back into the medium tone brush and I blend it out. And again, this is just habit, but with that same brush, I go under. This time I probably only do an outer quarter. So I am going to use a little tiny bit of black from the same palette, but I am doing this. I am putting the tiniest amount on. And here we go. This is the darkest color. So be really, really skimp on usage. Be frugal. And again, the first dot I do looking straight into the camera, and then I can do just a little bit like that, and I pull it down. Blend. And you can do as many layers as you like with this. Like if you want it black, 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 do more layers. I am going to keep this to a dark brown. So at this point we have no eyeliner, just the eyeshadow, and I tend to do, look at this little pencil. You can see how much I love it. I've probably gone through 10 of these. This is Bourjois 57 Up in Brown. And I do half of my lower lash line with this, because what I've noticed often with hooded eyes, I don't want to accentuate the waterline down here because it tends to pull the outer corner of your eye down. But I also don't want to close my eyes up too much, so I don't want to go for black. So for me, this kind of taupey, browny, cool brown works really well just to balance it out. You don't really notice it, but it just balances things out. Then we are going to line the bottom of our upper waterline, just over there. It always looks terrible. I'm going to use a very stubby angled brush. This is from the travel collection of Zoeva 322 Brow Line. And I am going to use a gel liner. This is by Illamasqua. And I just get a little bit of the color on the brush. And what I do is I lift it, and then I am really working into the roots of the lashes, not the waterline as much. And then switching to Anastasia number 3 eyeliner brush, I am going to do a tiny bit of liner, but really it's minimal. It's like just enough. Right now, so this is my weird way of doing this right now. I pull up a little bit over there, just a bit, but because we're not going to do a big liner, and then I just dot the liner, and I stop it where it meets the eyeshadow, and it's not really a liner, it's kind of like just like a shadow. That's what we're going to call it. So because there's a darker shadow here, you don't really need to worry too much. When you're using a brush, you just kind of fade it into the eyeshadow. And next we're going to curl lashes. This is the Hourglass Lash Curler. And I tend to do this. It looks gross. I don't press very hard, but I twist it up. For hooded eyes, a good eyelash curler is a must. I'm not saying that this is necessarily the best one. Everybody's eyes are a different shape. Sure does a good one. The Hourglass one is good. I used to love the Tarte one. Tons of good ones. Hourglass Caution Mascara. This is my holy grail ride or die mascara. I buy the travel size, mostly because the big one is so huge. Also, they're expensive, but I don't want to get rid of it after a couple of months. And mascara you should change every 3 months, definitely every 6 months. And if I'm using it just for myself, I haven't gone through it quick enough. But when I buy the travel size, it's a lot cheaper and I don't feel as bad getting rid of it. But this mascara is insane. And I do put a little tiny bit on my lower lashes, but I concentrate more on the outer half, I guess. Amazing trick for hooded eyes is take a tubing mascara. I love the Glossier one, but it doesn't give me enough volume on volume days. And then just do the tips of your top lashes, bottom lashes as well, if you tend to get that kind of blackness here. But my hoods touch my lashes, so if I do this, I seal in the lashes, and I can use whatever mascara I like, as volumizing as I like, but then it doesn't smudge and you don't get those telltale black dots on your little hoods. You know what? I thought I would actually use this more. I am just going to use it for a highlight. I am going to go for Angel Fire. And the first highlight I'm doing is on the middle of my eyelid. So I take my finger, there's a little bit of natural oils on your finger, and I just tap it on the middle of my eyelid. So that way when you blink, you can see it, but it's not an all over shimmer look. And then I'm just gonna use a brush and do a little bit on the inner corner. Actually, I'm gonna use the Bribe. It has a tiny bit of shimmer, and just the inner corner And at the same time as I do that, I tend to do bridge of the nose just where my eyeline is. It really draws light to the area. And so that's it. That's all there is to it. Let me know how you like the look, and I will see you again next time. Bye.